Hello and welcome. Today we are driving a 2019 Cadillac Escalade Platinum. Let's take a look outside. So this Escalade is the Platinum version. This is powered by a 6.2 liter V8 producing 420 horsepower along with 460 pound-feet of torque. This is one of the last truck-based SUVs around currently today, and this shares the same platform with the Chevy Tahoe, Chevy Silverado, Chevy Suburban, and GMC Yukon. So this Escalade is the top trim model. This is a Platinum. And as you can see, it rides on some 20-inch alloy wheels with some pretty large tires on these. They have a lot of grip. The front of this is still menacing as ever. It has a nice stance, a nice muscular stance. Although it's basic and has remained similar for about the last decade, it still has a lot of road presence as you're driving it down the road. And of course, in this black model, it looks very Excelsior and professional. Let's see about cargo space. Alrighty, so this, as you can see, has a power lift gate. The cargo space in this is a 3-row SUV. It's pretty good, but of course there is gear visible here. The person who loaned me this car, they enjoy skiing, as you can probably tell. But it has a lot of storage back here. It has a cup holder for each 3rd-row passenger when the seats are up. Those are power up and down, right here, as you can see. And they fold flat into the floor, also powered. So that's a nice touch. The handles of this Escalade, as you can see here, it looks a little bit extra shiny right here. Those are actually lighted, so that's a very nice feature. But something surprising on this Escalade, stickering for almost $90,000, it does not have a keyless proximity mode. You still have to push a button, similar to in a Kia. That's an odd touch. So let's check it out back here. Alright, so I am about 6 feet tall, and I still have adequate leg room. There are nice cutouts on each side for your legs in here. So, it does have a main TV system, which is a pretty cool touch. It's very low resolution though, but it's adequate. Better than nothing. Back here there are also individual TVs on each the driver and the passenger seat. These are once again low resolution, but they have a lot of connections. So you can actually plug in a USB stick right here, a flash drive, and you can actually load up your own films, movies, or videos. It's a very nice touch. So the seats themselves, this only comes in a captain's chair setup, so that's 2 seats with these armrests. Back here, each passenger in the 2nd row captain's chairs, they get their own vents, which is very nice, and you can control that here through the selection area. There are also heated seats in the back as well, which you can adjust again through that system. The seats themselves, they definitely lack bolstering. I wish they would have some better bolstering back here, but they are very plush with some of the softest leather I've ever touched. They are very high quality and they feel it. Let's go check out the front. There are also standard runners on these. These are motorized. They go in and out, as you can see. All right, so up front here in the Escalade, you are greeted by a digital gauge cluster. I personally enjoy this gauge cluster. It has a nice touch of chrome, which is real, but the rest of it is completely digital. And you can set up a few different modes for that screen right there to accentuate your tachometer, your speedometer, or whichever options you choose. Also, this has a HUD or head-up display, and that's very simple to control right here with a power adjustment button, which is great because a lot of vehicles similar to this have you go through the infotainment system through a whole row of menus. It is just a pain in some vehicles, but GM, Cadillac, they're the ones who started the heads-up display, so they've got it on top. Alright, so sitting here in this Escalade, the first thing you notice is this is a very big SUV. You have lots and lots of elbow room. You have a very grand interior, as you can see. A lot of gloss black, and I guess you could call it a peanut butter colored interior. It's a very unique color scheme, but it works out well. The only gripe I have with it is the use of what I consider to be piano black or gloss black right here. As you can see, lots of dust particles and fingerprints have been collecting here for some time, and they don't really go away. So that's an unfortunate touch. And it's also found here where the cup holders are. So this is not gloss black, but it's very similar. It's just like a fake wood grain trim, but they might as well have just gone gloss black, because as you can see, every little speck of dust is very visible right there. So as this is obviously a large family hauler type vehicle, a luxurious one, it has set up for 2 cup holders up here and lots of good ports, which is awesome. So it has a 9-volt cigarette lighter, that type of port, but it also has 2 USB type A ports, which is a nice touch. If you're wondering what this button is here, I can turn that on. It has a little icon of a snowflake. That is actually for this center right here, in this center console. If you take this cover off, this is actually a chilled glove box, and not just one of those finicky ones. It really has a lot of good cooling power right within there, so you can keep your drinks or snacks cool. It's a very nice touch. So visibility around this Escalade, it is very good because it is based off of a truck-based SUV. This is, excuse me, a truck-based SUV, so it's a very boxy design, pretty good visibility, very large third set of windows, which is great, so it limits your blind spot there. The mirrors, the side mirrors on this Escalade are very large, almost to the point of creating a blind spot, because the A-pillars are pretty thin in here, but each mirror is actually massive. That is very welcome when you're driving it, of course, but it also limits a little bit of frontal visibility. So, this does have a sunroof in here. The entire interior is trimmed with a mix of titanium, that fake wood, gloss black, and this peanut butter leather. And up top, there is also Alcantara. Alcantara basically lines the entire headliner, all the way through the pillars as well. It's a very nice touch. This does have a Bose audio system, which I will include an audio test at the end of the video. It is a very, very nice system. Very bassy with a great amplifier, great volume. So this is a 4-wheel drive model, so right here you can see you have 2-wheel drive, automatic 4-wheel drive, 4 high and 4 low, which that is very good to have. The seats up here have memory seating, so they have 2 seating memory positions. There are also massaging seats for the driver and passenger, which is a very nice touch. They have great bolstering, top and bottom. And they also include a vibration system. I am not sure exactly what that is called, but GM has input a very nice system. So because this has forward and rear collision warning systems, whenever those occur, it both shows up on the head-up display right in front of you there, and also it'll buzz your seat repeatedly or as aggressively as it needs to in terms of whichever the emergency sense is. So that's a very nice touch. The center console here, it is typically frustrating to use because Cadillac chose not to use any hard buttons or just a touchscreen. They used a mix of the two. So these here, these are actually touch sensitive areas. They do give feedback like an iPhone. It has a nice buzz, a nice little response whenever you touch them, but they're very finicky to use because these are just individual touch sensors right here. Every one of these is not even a perfect slide. This is the only one that's slide. Most of these are tap. So they are finicky and typically just difficult to use as driving, but they work adequate, I guess. This does have a full power steering wheel, tilt and telescope, and another power feature, it does have adjustable brake and gas pedals, which is not too common in lower end cars, but this being the Escalade, it is definitely present here. This does have a few drive modes, so it has Tour mode, Sport mode, and a Snow Ice mode, but we'll keep it in Tour for now. This does have a cylinder deactivation system, so as you're driving, when most cars would go into economy mode, this will give you that type of an icon with a little green car, but it actually goes to 4 cylinders when you are in a higher gear, and you don't need anything like that. This car does have a 10-speed automatic transmission that is mated to the 6.2-liter V8, and that's the one co-developed by GM and Ford, also used in the Mustang and a plethora of other cars. It shifts smooth. And there will be a POV driving video directly following this video. The glove box in this car is actually powered partway, so you push this button and the glove box opens with a motor. However, you do have to close it by hand, so there is a little trade-off there. This does have a lane departure warning. It's kind of aggressive, but also passive at the same time. It's not going to jerk you back into the lane so effectively, but it will just generally steer you in. It won't center you in your lane. It does have park assist, of course, with a rear camera. However, the rear camera, as I will show you now, it is extremely low resolution. I do not know why Cadillac did that. This is a 2019, almost $90,000 car, and look at the resolution of that. That is just so subpar. However, it does have a couple camera angles, which are nice. So it does have a 360 camera, and it does have a front camera also. So the infotainment system itself, let's power that on. It is pretty simple to use. However, it's at a very skewed angle. So it is like this. It is a very sharp angle upwards, which makes it hard to see in sunlight. But it is usable. It is Cadillac's CUE system. So it does have pretty fast response times. And once again, it has that quick little buzz input as if it's an iPhone or a touchscreen. This does have heated and cooled seats as well. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. Up top, it does have a trunk adjustment, so you can choose how open you would like the trunk to be. If you push that button, it can be completely open, 3/4 of the way open, or just off, where you can turn off the power liftgate from inside. The wheel controls are also a bit finicky in here. They're not a very effective system because, as you can see, there's almost no input until you hit it once or twice. So I don't particularly love the wheel controls. And I also wish more USB ports were present because there are none for the back passengers, second or third row, which this day and age in an $80,000 car, that's very tech heavy. It should have that. This does have a wireless charging pad for the driver or passenger to use, which is a nice touch. I do prefer it inside of here actually versus down here in the center console. It's just much easier to access your phone having it on the armrest. So this Escalade is a very premium SUV, as you can see, and it's stickered for about $90,000 when new. It does have a lot of features, but in some ways it is just a little bit behind its times. It is a decade-old SUV, so the body-on-frame technology does create a very boxy and good visibility-based SUV, but compared to some competitors, some of the technologies in here, and just some of the hindsights, they do affect it a little bit. However, this is a great SUV and really has some beautiful aspects to it. Be sure to check out my POV drive. Thank you for watching. Take care.